My podcast is The Hangout with Tshepo. You can catch that on all podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify. Yeah, my brother.
Awesome. Mr. Tshepo Totetsi.
Tsotetsi.
Yes.
That's correct.
Welcome
Thank you.
to the podcast. So, to everyone, this is the Recording Magic podcast, a podcast based here at Studio LDMM, which is here in Langdemonman, which is a membership-based space for creatives, spiritual people, and anyone looking to have a sacred experience. And today we are speaking to Tshepo Totetsi.
Tsotetsi.
Hey, that Totetsi, it's very...
It's hectic, my brother.
It's Totetsi.
Yeah.
Your tongue must be warm.
Yeah.
Your tongue must be warm. So he is going to be here on the 18th of May, playing beautiful music. Yeah, man. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, Tshepo, for those who might not know you. And those who don't know you, I don't know where you've been. I don't know where you've been.
Okay, no. First and foremost, I'm looking into a lot of places. Fortunately and unfortunately, there's no little bit about myself. I've been a musician for many, many years. I started playing when I was very young, and I've played with a lot of different artists. But the interesting thing is, all along I've been writing music for a very long time, and I've recorded many albums of my own. But for the first time in many years, I actually had something to say, and it was exciting because, making music is one thing, making a body of work is another. But having something to absolutely say that's meaningful and something I can sit here and talk about is something so refreshing. So I decided that my solo debut album is going to be a solo piano album that talks about me actually finding a good place to introduce myself to the public, because people know me as a lot of things. I'm a multi instrumentalist. I play saxophones, pianos.
He's basically a music god. If
you may call it that.
Like in Hinduism, they've got different gods, with many hands, Abo Shiva, Abo Banbani,
It's a lot of things. Yeah, I definitely do a lot of things, and I wear many different hats. But, the most important thing for me is always to do things deliberately, especially when it comes to recording, releasing of any kind of music, any kind of art. I prefer to have a story that actually sticks and something I can sit and talk about.
That's beautiful. So you are officially the most famous and talented Tshepo that I know.
Yes.
Because there are some famous Tshepos,
Yes.
And some infamous Tshepos.
Famous and infamous. Also, Honalinda did Tshepo Tsotetsi.
Hey,
we cannot top that.
That's a
by
TT.
far.
That's the other TT.
Yeah. That's the OG TT.
I actually saw his son play when I was in Mpumalanga for some event, and he's really carrying, forward that legacy.
Yeah. It's it's big shoes to fill.
Very big.
Mainly because Ntate Tshepo Tsotetsi was a lot of things beyond just a musician and a singer. And Boy has a lot of work to do.
A lot of work. But also, hopefully he'll carve out his own, his own way.
For sure.
But I think more than anything, I think these legacies need to be upheld also, in any way. It's just like having, there's that house, Yagafela,
yes,
there in Nigeria. I mean, having Africa Shrine. So having spaces where, we are reenacting these things are so important.
Extremely.
To keep telling the story, because Tshepo Tsotetsi was, he was a giant.
I think besides just, keeping the legacy going, any young person that steps into those shoes needs to understand what it is that the legacy stood for to begin with. Because, I mean, it's easy to take especially now because we think in brand format, it's easy to take a brand and just go with it. Ne? But the work that the Tshepo Tsotetsi is far more than that. It's not just a series of songs or a couple of songs, but it's a lot of sonic memories that a lot of people grew up with. That music made a lot of people remember who they are.
The big time. My father, actually, who's a huge music fan, he was telling me about, the style that Tshepo Tsotetsi
Yes.
used to sing in. He heard it when he was a child. My father is 69 this year, and he heard it when he was a child visiting family in Bloemfontein.
Yes.
And he just remembered. I remember him telling me how that music just made him cry. Hearing that voice, that specific voice, Yaga Tshepo Tsotetsi, and how it vibrated in his body. It was a spiritual experience for him.
Man, that was the village pope. Also, something else I waited for a long time to have or to possess was the ability to speak in my own thoughts. You know what I mean? Because of how we were, because of how tuition came about and the schools we went to, we speak in English, and most of us even think in English for most of the day. But I wanted to find music that I would record and release that could speak ka Sesotho, so that when I speak this music and think about it and even translate what is going on in my head, the core of it is happening ka Sesotho, so that you can hear, okay, this is Tshepo Tsotetsi. Because, I mean, I've played all kinds of styles of music and whatnot, ne? And I can make anything sound good. That's fine. That's a given. I've played long enough. But I was looking for the moment where I can make music that speaks like me, so that when you hear it, utlwa Tshepo Tsotetsi.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I could really hear those vibrations when I was listening to your album, which we'll come back to in the moment. But first, can I ask you to bring your mic down a little bit?
Okay.
Like down, like
This way.
Yeah, just pull it down. Yeah, and then tilt it up.
Tilt it
Yeah,
up.
perfect.
There we go.
Just want to make sure they can see your face, the money maker.
The money maker. This is the face.
So you and I have a connection.
All right.
We are connected by a high school.
By high school.
Yes.
Which one?
I think
NSA?
I think you'll remember this.
The national.
See our school.
Oh Lordy, there he goes.
Different.
There he goes. Woo.
See our
And NSA people don't forget anything.
We have it all. See our
It's one of the best songs in the land.
Is combined by all the special arts.
No ways. You went to NSA.
Music to dance, dance to drama.
This guy wants me to start
drama
crying.
to art, together forever.
Together forever, ladies and gents.
United.
You went to NSA. No
we
ways.
shall stand. Whoa.
What a small
I'll do you
world.
one better.
Yeah.
We were the class that wrote the school song.
No ways.
It was me and Maliebe,
Yes.
Loyiso Kanda, who was the head boy at that time, co-head boy, I think. And we had one afternoon to write that song. So we got together. There were some other musicians in the room.
Yeah.
But me and Anne Maliebe, we had to then go perform it a few hours later
Sure.
to Mr. Van Gent
This is insane.
and Miss Berger.
Who would have thought we have the founders of this
Founders.
song?
We built
A
this
song
from
that
the
lived
ground
so
up.
long. And it still stands, man.
And it's different now.
Yeah, they've done
Different.
something to it.
Which naturally is supposed to happen.
Yeah. I would have been worried if they didn't.
Oh man.
Would have sucked
and
if
I
it
did
stayed
fine
the same.
art at NSA. I didn't even do music.
Sure, but
But
you were
that was
part
the
of it.
beauty of that place, that you could find yourself doing a myriad
Lots of magic in that
of
place,
things. So you and I are connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the keys for the song? Would you be able to play it?
Sure, I wonder.
This is a test of Mr. Totetti's abilities to see.
Sure. I don't know. right about there. Phew,
beautiful.
It's crazy. You still remember the song
So
as is.
I mean, if you wrote something, you're gonna remember it. I didn't write it alone, by no stretch of the imagination.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was in the room, and we were, we just had to put it together as a class.
For sure.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful memory, and it's amazing that we are connected by that place. I mean, but you started out, you moved from Boksburg, from Benoni to
Benoni.
Bram, in terms of your musical movement.
Yes,
from
yes.
your beginnings in Benoni.
And
so
it's a
how
funny
was that?
thing.
How was that transition?
It was cutthroat. So I started off at the Eastern School of the Arts.
Yes.
And that's a whole different environment altogether. But it was exciting because I got to see. I remember the 1 year I was there. We went to NSA for the Festival of Fame, and I was looking at that place and I'm thinking, no. I'm coming here next year. and when I left the Eastern School of the Arts, a lot of my friends were very upset with me. And I mean, I could understand. In 1 year, man, I got to be in a lot of very important pockets in the school when it comes to the school bands and some of the musical relationships that we made. So it was a painful, it was a painful disembark, I must say. And then I got to Bram. Bram was a whole new game. You can imagine a young boy from Benoni. Yeah. Bram is a big world, man.
Big world.
For someone who comes from Benoni.
What year was it when you started at NSA?
So I matriculated at 2009. So I'm guessing 2008, 2005.
2005. Yeah. I matriculated 2003.
You okay?
So I'm an OG.
Yeah. To me, you're the ultimate OG.
I know. Even other OGs. There's OGs from before me.
And people never forget that place.
Never.
It's a place of magic.
It's magic.
Place of magic.
It's magic.
For sure.
I don't know if I ever left.
No, we never do.
We never leave. I need to go back there actually and just see what's happening.
You should.
So now it's something that you touched on, and what because I listened this morning to your album, Forgive Yourself, which please check it out on Spotify. It's a transformative, transporting musical experience, and what I could feel there is that you were expressing your emotions through the instrument in a very direct way. Please take us into that.
So when someone learns how to play and learns how to make music and compose and whatnot, one of the biggest focuses is ability and translation of ideas. For the longest time, because I mean, I've made music for a long time. One of the most exciting things I looked forward to since I was a kid was a point where I could communicate music through more than just emotion and feeling. Because there's a belief I have that feelings are very unreliable. They change. They change so frequently. Feelings change like the weather. A feeling doesn't ever stay the same. But I wanted to get to a point where I can communicate music with everything that I am as well, my personality, my all of the things that are really good about myself and all of the things that are really not so good. I believe everybody's got some corners in themselves that are not so savory.
We all got some skeletons,
Yeah, no. Hey, now my skeletons are intense. Anything I do is intense. Anything I do is on a high frequency, high level, good and bad, So I wanted to get to a point where I can communicate myself, my personality, so that when you listen to a body of work, it's not just emotion, it's also like direct communication about the things that I'm going through. Because the album itself, Forgive Yourself, is about a person's personality. There are things that you go through in life, and you face troubles, you face tough times, but you also get like a lot of joy out of life. There's a lot of things that go extremely right in your life. There's a lot of there's a lot of moments you think back on and you think, sure, I was extremely happy here. Things were really well. My health was in good shape. I could move with a bounce in my step. You know what I mean? So when I think about conveying, something with music, it's not just a feeling. It's not just, that one moment where I was feeling another type of way. But I like to capture my personality as well at the time, because Forgive Yourself was recorded when COVID ended and we started moving around again. And I was thinking, at that point in my life, I was in a good space. Not because everything was going right in my life, but because I got to a place of good balance. You know what I mean? And the whole chronologically how I built the album is I spoke about some of my deepest regrets, some of the places in my life where I really wasn't good and I really wasn't feeling okay with being myself and things were happening to me. But I also cover the whole unraveling of the story and getting to a point where I find a way to get out of the rut, because I don't like the modern narrative of how we get into depression, we get into anxiety, we get into these hectic things that keep us under. But then we don't equally talk about the fact that it's possible to get out of those things, and we must give equal attention to the solutions. I like solutions.
How we survived.
Yeah, I like solutions. I like talking about all of the dark places in our life, but equally I like talking about a lot of instances where we literally found ways to get out of the rut. Because that's a glorious thing to celebrate and acknowledge constantly, because, social media has made it easier now to talk about, adversaries, the things that go bad in our lives. Anxiety is a hot topic. Depression is a hot topic. Not feeling good is a hot topic. Stuff like Mercury retrograde.
Hey.
I was very
whatever
confused.
that means.
Whatever that means. I was very confused
But
about.
we can feel it,
I guess so. But we can also feel happiness. And I feel like when you find the spark again, when you look at the sunlight and you can interpret what it's saying to you once more, you must say that loudly and boldly as when you're not okay and you say, I'm feeling a certain way. Balance, my bro. Balance, my bro.
So we are back. And I just wanted to, this album, Forgive Yourself, it transported me. And everything you're saying is what I experienced listening to it. And what I wanted is just to get a taste of the title track, Forgive Yourself.
Yes.
Just so that the people at home or in the interweb, wherever they are, can get a feeling of it.
No, definitely.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Because I was in the taxi listening to this, watching the city go by.
Yeah.
And the thought I had immediately is like, I wish that everyone walking around could be listening to this, because it's such a sound of peace. And the album, when I looked at how you wrote the titles of the songs, it read like a letter. It read like a poem. It read like a motivation, which is beautiful. And you guys must check it out. I will go to the names now because I've got it right here on my phone. And here we are on the album. And the first track is Forgive Yourself. Then it's Soup in the Garden. Confront your demons, lest they learn
How you dance.
Beast's Head. Be careful of the things you
Say to yourself.
Yes. My Time at the House Towers.
The Jehovah's Towers.
The
It's
Jehovah's Towers.
it's a block of apartments in Centurion. I used to stay there.
Beautiful.
It was a wild place.
Wild time. But it reads so beautifully. And the thing that I found, because I listened and I'm like, what does this sound like? What does this music that you're creating sound like? And it sounds like crystals,
Sure.
right?
That's amazing.
It sounds like Sunday, and it sounds like victory. But the biggest feeling that came was victory when I listened to the song. And it's that crystal thing of that, how clean the lines that you're creating are, but they're creating these like huge crystalline shapes. Something, it's like almost like when you listen to it, you're looking at something great.
Wow.
Almost like even when I was looking at the world going by, it felt like it was bringing peace to what I was looking at. There was that acceptance that was happening of what I was seeing. As dirty as the city is, as crazy as it is, through that soundtrack, it just turned into a different state.
Different machine altogether.
So from that standpoint, I want to go into to just touch lightly on how you recorded the album and how it came about.
So, my idea of formulating the album was there were very specific songs that I knew that I wanted to use that I wrote. Some of them I wrote when I was in high school.
That's load shedding.
Is that load shedding?
We're still recording though.
Okay. Some of the works that I have in the album are from back when I was in high school, earlier musical years. And what I promised myself is that I'd have like a core of songs that I go into studio with that are prepared, and some of the other things I wanted to happen in studio. So when I walked in, we sound checked. I played all of the songs that I had prepared, and then everything else I played off the fly. So those were like one take kind of situations.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, because it feels so intuitive in terms of how the songs move. I mean, I guess it's owed to your musical experience that you are able to carry those messages so effortlessly.
Sure.
So I was just going into how you kept your focus during the recording.
So I spend a lot of time in studio. At home, I've got my own setup cooking, and so the environment of studio is something I'm very familiar with, and I'm pretty pedantic about the state of my mind, my body, my focus before I even get to studio. So I know how a studio day is gonna go pretty much the night before. So everything counts: what I eat, what I drink, how much rest I have, whether my mind is wandering or not.
I mean, what is the one thing that you can share with us that helps you to get into the zone?
Yeah, I think it's being in a good space with how my mind is processing things, what I'm thinking about, the kind of people that I talk to before I record. I control everything in my environment before before I go to studio, before I work in studio as well. Who I talk to. There are certain people I will definitely not talk to, because I know there are risks involved in talking to those people. You know, like there are those people in your life that have drama, and you know who they are, and you know the kind of access they have to you. So I control those things in my environment when I work. So there are people that I won't talk to. There are people that I'll make sure I don't talk to on the phone. I live on the internet, so there's certain content I will deliberately not consume beforehand. The kind of food I eat as well. Like I was saying earlier, when I record, everything that happens the day and night before definitely counts in how focused I'm going to be the next day. Yeah.
Wow. That is amazing, because someone wouldn't necessarily think of that before. They'd imagine that you just go into the studio and you do your thing and everything works out fine. But they I think even for rehearsal, even for performance, there's so much ritual that we need to carry into what we do, because when you're going to serve up something so spiritual, you know, you need to be 100.
For sure. I mean, I teach music, and there's an analogy I use with the kids all the time. It's that, you know, imagine most things, like how sports people operate. Life works the exact same way. If you're going to go to a marathon, it's not just about your ability to run. It's about everything else. It's about the harmony of your body. It's about the harmony of your environment. It's about everything around you. You know, athletes eat a certain way before they go to do something substantial. So, you know, it's the same with everything else. There's a lot of process that goes into things, considerably, because we're dealing with quality as well. You know, like the kind of people that just walk into studio, that's fine, but there's a certain quality you know that you want to aim for, and that takes you doing a couple of things a bit differently. Yeah.
True. So I just wanted to move into how you recorded this album, because if you guys go and check it out and listen to it, all you hear is that beautiful piano sound. There is no lyrics. There is no drums. It's the epitome of purity in my feeling after listening to the album. So please take us into the recording process, and also mention anyone that you think is worth mentioning in the creation of the project.
For sure. First and foremost, I'd like to say shout out to Goran of Moya Sounds, the studio where I recorded. So I enjoy harboring relationships big time. So before he and I spoke about recording the piano album, like I'd speak to him about what I want to do, what I want the piano to sound like. We spoke about the process quite a bit, and when I got to studio, I remember everything that we had discussed was there to the T. You know what I mean? And he mic'd the piano up very well. I could hear everything in great detail, and that made it so much easier to just sit there and do my thing, because audio engineers are the heart of your recording. My brother, they are it's like lighting for video. You can have a very expensive video camera, but if you have the right lights, everything feels so much better.
True.
Yeah.
True. So I could also hear, and this is I guess it's a question that I wanted to ask you. Is that I could hear a bit of the room where you were recording.
Yes.
The grand piano, and I could also hear a bit of a kind of sound. Was that something that you guys left in there purposely?
Yeah, I like it. I like recording in spaces that are not like perfect studio places. Like where he put the piano is actually in the house.
Okay.
So all around me, bro. There were bookshelves. There were furniture. You know, everybody's got like personal furniture, like stuff that you wouldn't find in someone else's house.
Yes.
And you know, those little pieces of art and stuff like that. So as I was playing Mole, if I just looked around, there was always something else to look at. And he has, so I've got a bit of a fetish for lamps.
Okay.
He has these really nice lamps,
Wow.
and that gave me the space to imagine myself in many different countries
Wow.
at the same time while I was recording.
I really love those Moroccan lamps. You know, those are like, I think I
My
need
brother,
like
lamps
10
are
of those in
beautiful
my
things,
house.
man. Oh, I love lamps.
Yeah, it's such a sign of hope. So I just want to get in now, as we're wrapping up, into your show that you're going to
Yes.
be playing here on the 18th. The themes around it,
Yes.
what listeners can expect.
For sure. So I'm doing some dope things because the core of the concert is going to be music from the album Forgive Yourself. I've got some guests. I've got I've got my trustee trumpet player that's coming through, who I will name closer to the time. This is my dude. He knows how my machine works. He, in a very big way, a very big special way, he knows how to interpret musically, like some of the music that we shared together. So that's gonna be like a very special moment for me. And I have a bass player coming through as well. I have a drummer coming through. Also, these are dudes that I've played with for many years, and you know, across provinces we've had very good times with the music. And this time around, I think one of the most special things for me to bring these gentlemen on board is that we work together professionally a lot, and this time around, professionally, they're gonna be part of my project, and that's a special transition, one which we always dreamed of seeing ourselves operate on in that space, because the bass player and drummer have an album of theirs that both me and the trumpeter were featured on as well. So it's you know,
like
when
things coming full circle.
yeah, you know, when I say 360 experience, I say it because for us, as boys, it's gonna be an experience where we share this music that is ours, you know. We are the artists in this concert. Like, we are the headliners of the thing.
It's just you.
It's beautiful, bro. And another thing for me that's very special, when I came to Lang de Moonmon the first time, and Caroline gave me a tour of the place. I saw the garden, I saw the kitchen space, I saw where they make the magic with food, and you know, she's passionate about food, and that's great. I can't wait to eat that food, man. It's gonna be so beautiful. And when she showed me the space, the one space that I was in love with immediately was the space where there's art all around.
Yes.
And when I say 360, I say 360s. It's because, man, my head was spinning when I looked around.
That's the dome room.
The dome room. I was like, damn. Immediately I said, I'm going to play piano here.
It's a very special space.
You know, and Manani said, listen, I'm listening to you. We're going to make this happen. And here we are. It's happening on the 18th of March. We are rocking this thing.
Of May.
18th of May. Guys,
May and March, I do mix them up also.
guys, time flies.
Thank you so much
Thanks for having me. Thanks for
being
having
with
me.
us
Yeah.
on Recording Magic, the Studio LDMM podcast.
Magic.
And it was beautiful talking to you about your musical experiences, about where you came from, and also hearing the beautiful energy you're putting into where you're going. So thank you very much for being with us on this episode of Recording Magic, a Studio LDMM podcast. So please follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. That is Studio LDMM on all those platforms. And we'd love to hear from you guys. So please send us DMs. Please email us on ldmmstudio@gmail.com, and let's interact. So Studio LDMM is available for you to record your podcast and your music. We've got an array of creatives that you can work with and a platform that will really work to take you far. Because here at Studio LDMM, we make the magic happen. So thank you very much, Tshepo.
Thank you. Thanks
And
for
we'll
having me.
See you on the 18th.
See you on the 18th.
Catch you at the bar.
Yeah. That's the best place to be, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, we've got an amazing bar here at Studio LTMM. We've got Sylvia. She's making some bomb cocktails.
Shout out to Sylvia.
That's another reason why you all need to be here.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a vibe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much.